Junie B. Jones, first grader, boss of lunch, chapter 9, baloney. Monday. Dear first grade journal, room 1 is still mad at me about Friday. After we got back to the room, Mrs. Goodsman brought bologna sandwiches for the children who didn't eat. They were not a hit. I sat at my desk, and I ate out of my new lunchbox. I had a tasty peanut butter and jelly sandwich, 'cause brought lunch is better than bought lunch, and that is not even my fault. Some of the children watched me eat. They made growly faces at me. Today, Herbert is my only friend. Also, Lenny and Jose are being reasonable. I wish Friday never happened. From Junie B., first grader. I peeked my eyes at the clock. It was almost 2:15. Just one more hour before I could go home. I tried to make the clock go faster with my eyes. It did not actually work that good. Just then, there was a knock at our door. Mr. Scary answered it. "Why, hello," he said. "Why, hello yourself," said a friendly voice. And guess what? It was Mrs. Goodsman. She walked in the room with 2 boxes in her arms. My heart pounded and pounded to see that woman, because what if she came to scold me? I slumped way down in my seat so she couldn't see me. Mrs. Goodsman set the boxes on Mr. Scary's desk. Then she looked all around the room. I slumped in my seat even further. Only too bad for me, because Blabbermouth May pointed at me. "Mrs. Goodsman," she hollered. "Junie Jones is trying to hide from you. She is sliding down in her chair so you can't see her, but I am keeping track of her movements." After that, I slid all the way down to the floor under my desk. I curled into a ball and hid my head. Pretty soon I heard feet walking to my desk. I'm getting used to that sound. The feet stopped next to my chair. I opened one eye and peeked out. I saw the bottom of Mrs. Goodsman's apron. "Junie B.," said her voice, "why are you sitting on the floor?" I didn't move any muscles, because maybe she would go away possibly. "Junie B.," said Mrs. Goodsman, "I brought something for your class. Don't you want to see what it is?" I shook my head real fast. "No, thank you," I said. "I don't want to see it. And so now you can be on your way, please." I opened my other eye and looked at her feet. They kept on standing there. Then all of a sudden, I heard a loud groan. And what do you know? The woman squatted down right next to me. I was shocked to see her. "Mrs. Goodsman," I said, "what are you doing down here?" Mrs. Goodsman didn't look comfortable. "Please, Junie B., I need your help," she said. "I brought cookies for your class today, but there's no one up here to help me pass them out." I rolled my eyes way back in my head, because that was not even the truth, of course. "Yes, there is, Mrs. Goodsman," I said. "There's lots of people up there to help you." Mrs. Goodsman shook her head. No, you don't understand," she said. After that, she reached into her pocket and she pulled out a pair of plastic mitts. "I need a real helper, Junie B. I need someone with experience." Mrs. Goodsman's smile kind of painful. "Please," she said, "if we do not stand up soon, I'm going to fall right on my keister and you will never get me up." I did a teensy smile, because that was a little joke, I believe. Finally, I crawled out from my desk and I helped Mrs. Goodsman stand up. "I guess I can help you pass out the cookies," I said kind of quiet. "But some of these children are still very mad at me, you know." Mrs. Goodsman held my hand. "Yes, well, I think maybe we can fix that," she said. After that, me and her walked to the front of the room together, and Mrs. Goodsman showed everyone the cookies. "Sugar cookies!" shouted the children. "Thank you, Mrs. Goodsman, thank you, thank you." Mrs. Goodsman put her hand on my shoulder. "Don't thank me, class," she said. "Junie B. Jones is the one who reminded me to pay you a visit this year. She's the one that you need to thank." And for a second, no one said anything. Then all of a sudden, Herb hollered out, "Thank you, Junie B. Jones." And all the other children hollered, "Thank you, too." I grinned real big, because those words felt happy in my ears. After that, I hurried back to the sink and washed my hands, and I quick put on my mitts and ran back. Mrs. Goodsman gave me a thumbs up. "Ready to go, helper?" she said. "Ready to go," I said back. And so then, both of us passed out all the cookies together, and I did a perfect job. And so here is what I am thinking. I am thinking that maybe someday, I won't be the boss of lunch after all. Maybe someday, I will be the boss of cookies instead. Because boss of cookies is the most delicious job I ever heard of. Plus also, I will get to make all the cookie rules, and I've already thought of rule number 1. I wrote it in my journal so I won't forget it. Rule number 1. The boss of cookies gets to have 3, 4, 5 sugar cookies all to herself. P.S. Only never eat them in front of the children, because that would be rude probably. P.S. again. Plus sometimes she can even eat 6. Ha! The end.